This is episode 269 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dion Morales, and today I'm joined by Marcel. Need a new nickname as part of the team, Manzano.
Yeah, so I'm not captain anymore, so I need some type of Marvel name now. So I gotta figure one out.
We'll find it. We'll find it. Will, living in a world of darkness. Hakewood.
I've seen the light.
And Ryan Stanaszewski.
Correct. And we're talking about words that mean the same thing. Stanaszewski is the Polish correct way to say my name, whereas Stanaszewski is the English version.
Crazy people changing pronunciations.
And I know how to say Dion's name properly.
That's pretty
Bobby.
good. All right, so let's start with announcements and news. Malachor qualifier happening this weekend. It is the second qualifier in the Galactic Championship Series. If you plan on participating, make sure to scoop up your tickets. If you are participating and you signed up on TTT and haven't filled out your forms yet, please do that. There's about 10 of you right now that are pending, but I have no form filled out. So please do that. All right, so remember, it is taking place during the Western Europe time zone. Now, some people still get confused by this. You can participate in any of the qualifiers you want, regardless of where you live. It's simply when we are starting. So we are starting at, the player meeting starts at 9:30 Western Europe time, which is UTC +1. Make sure to get signed up, get your tickets. Let's have a great time. Reminder, 5 rounds of Swiss. The following day, we will cut depending on the number of people we have playing in that qualifier. The other announcements and news is essentially a peek into my email. Today, as I was checking the things, I got a reply from Asmodi. We'd been going back and forth about things. And if you all remember, I said, hey, I think we're going to be streaming Gen Con. We'll at least play. But it is official. We are streaming Gen Con. And they're even footing the bill for the internet, which is crazy. I'm going to tell you. You can do the research yourself as to what that means. But thank you.
Means Dion got a really good deal, basically.
I know, we're not going to have to hire my Uncle Joe to hotwire it now. So that's good.
Dion, to clarify, is this AMG taking care of it? Asmodee taking care of it?
Oh, this went to the head of all organized play for the planet. Was like, what do you need? And I sent this email being like he says, what do you? He asked me, what do you need for a perfect stream? And I told him all the things I would need. And when I got to the internet part, and I was like, internet with at least this speed, upload and download. But then I basically hedged, and I was like, well, it's really expensive at Gen Con, and I would understand if you didn't, because we would want to do it anyway, and I would just run it off my phone. It's not a big deal. It's literally what we've done for every Gen Con we've done. It has been run off of a mobile hotspot and or phone. And he was like, yeah, I got you. Also, we got the slightly better internet. I was like, what? Excuse me? So it's cool. It feels like being a little bit recognized, like they were willing to do that, which was pretty awesome. And I'm looking forward to us putting on a good show. Also, everybody who's going to be at Gen Con, looking forward to seeing you guys there. That is, remember, happening in August, the first weekend of August, guys. Is that right?
Yep, 3rd through the 8th for all of Gen Con X-Wing days is 4 through 7. Mm-hmm. 4th of the month of August, yeah.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. And we even got invited to set up like on the Wednesday. So we're like, hey, you want to come in on Wednesday and set up? I was like, wow, okay, feels nice. should be pretty cool. But yeah, we will be focusing, of course, on X-Wing at the event, and if anything more information comes out of that, we'll let you know. But just super excited to get that news in the inbox. I was pretty pumped. But we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Remember, this podcast is brought to you by our GSP patrons. They are the number one best way to support us here at Gold Squadron. The quarter 2 and quarter 3 swag is literally getting packed up right now. We've partnered with Andrew from Curl Paw Creatives. He is our official shipper for that, so he's getting all that stuff together. He has all the inventory. And shout out to him. Obviously, not doing it for free, but it helps me to free up my time so I can do more cool stuff, like traveling to Orlando, Florida, to stream the Planning Phase Syndicate Showdown, which is our first topic for today. So it was part 2 of our Community Showdown series, Community Event series. The last 2 happened we had the Midwest Scrub Down, to play on Showdown. We had a Planning Phase Syndicate Showdown. The next one is TBD right now. We actually got a flood of requests, and I'm looking at the calendar going like, I don't know. We're going to need a bigger boat. I don't to see if we can fit everybody. We had 22 players, and this is what I want to talk about first. By the way, shout out in the chat right now to Psych J7. He was one of the event coordinators there, and the one who was brave enough basically to ask, Dion, would you come to Florida to do this? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So he was instrumental in getting us there. We're going to look at the top 4 lists, but first I want to talk about something that I found to be very interesting. So, guys, at this event, we had some players who were experienced, most latest objective players, that they knew the rules, they had been practicing and things like that. Then we had another section of players that it was their first time actually playing with the newest update, what we refer to as 2.6, right? And then there was a decent number of players there that had never played objectives at all. Not even one time. And what I'd like to bounce off of you guys is, mind you, they had played X-Wing before. They had played 2.0. Okay, they had played 2.0, and what I could not have, like, I don't know. Like, it was. I just thought it was really cool to see these players at a local event being willing to make the jump, like no pre-practice, or like, well, it's the best way to do it is just to do it. So it's my kind of style. I liked it. Thoughts on that?
That's really good. I mean, we need new players just as much as we need players to stay in the game as well. That's really, I think, the influx of new players is really hopeful for the game, in my opinion. But as far as like throwing down objectives, man, that's not my style. I'm not the winging it kind of person. I like to have at least a plan or something, but if you're just trying to go out and have a good time, do some pew-pewing, I'm sure that works as well.
Yeah,
I think.
Go ahead.
It's definitely. We had a little bit of this experience as well this weekend. I helped to run an event at my local store to help get things back up and running on a monthly or every other month basis. This is the first one, and there were some people who this was their not the first time playing 2.5, but the first time playing in a physical event that was like a full organized, not just like a free play day at their local game store. Everyone came away pretty happy, new or experienced, so that was pretty positive overall. I think getting that in-store experience back, if you've had it before, or get in there if you haven't, is really good to do. If you get the opportunity, and you be safe about it as you feel you need to, and go. It's well worth the time.
Yeah, it was really cool. Also, the discussions that we've had on the podcast, the speculation of why these changes have happened and things like that. Being able to hear the players having those conversations live in game was really interesting. It was really interesting to go like, for instance, one comes to mind. For instance, for Scramble the Transmission, I overheard a player. They hadn't played objectives before. They said, I thought I heard that you had to roll a die for this one. And then they went through the full mental breakdown. They said, I heard you had to roll a die. Maybe that would have been more interesting. And then they're playing the game, and then I heard them say, nah, it's probably better that it's just a guarantee so that I don't waste my action. And so they went through the different phases of realization. It was really cool to see that. It was interesting. But yeah, it was a great time, and I want to use this as an opportunity to talk about community building as well. Seeing and knowing, obviously Planning Phase Syndicate, they advertised the event for a couple of months and things like that. So they had a really good turnout from different players in the Florida area, as well as the local players who play at the FLGS Orlando. How important is the local scene, and do you think, I guess here's my question. Are events, if you could only choose one, to have a monthly tournament or a weekly game night, which do you think drives growth more? What do you think? And you guys can kind of branch off that conversation, but it's something that's been kind of turning in my head, and I'd like to know your thoughts before I dive deeper.
So at least kind of piggybacking off of what I just mentioned about this weekend, the same store that I set this up at had been running weekly free play nights, but it was really midday Saturday every week. Mm-hmm. The most we've ever had of that since that store reopened up and since 2.5 was announced or became legal to use. Mm-hmm. Maybe 6 people at the most, right? I think it might be different for everyone else, depending on your area. But I think for us, what's going to build it back up, or for anyone else that's looking to build it at all, is to have those organized events that are planned farther in advance. Facebook events, however you want to get the word out, to share a link, to allow people to sign up early, a TTT event. By the way, TTT is super easy to run. I ran it off my phone. It was no problem. And I still played in the event. Easy. But I think if you schedule an event, have enough time in advance for people to plan around making time to get there if they can, that's going to get more people at that event. They're going to see the turnout. They're going to look forward to the future event, as long as it had a solid turnout, and try and do the monthly events. I think those are better. Now, it doesn't mean it needs to be more or less competitive than a weekly night. Mm-hmm. It's just an organized event.
Right.
You can set, our prizes were predominantly participation and just calling a random number generator after every round based upon the rankings. Number 5, rank 5 person will come get a swag prize off the table, whatever. Mm-hmm. Plus mostly participation. So I think if you don't have enough people showing up for your weekly nights and you're getting a little discouraged, try to set up monthly organized events, give people time to plan around it.
Cool. Marcel?
I think it depends on where you are. If you're in a place that is, thank you. If you're in a place that's kind of remote, then you probably want to do something a little bit more often, even if you have less players, but just to have some type of consistency, and then schedule time like larger things. 1 second. Oh, I don't know. Sorry about that. Anyway, so if it's in a remote area, probably do more frequent, even if you have less players. Just keep that consistency, and then just do a maybe like every other month, do something a little bit bigger. If it's somewhere like Chicago, LA, or the East Coast, where there's a lot of different play groups, if you're struggling to get a turnout on a regular basis, probably like Ryan said, just let people, instead of spreading it too thin where you have like 5 or 6 stores taking 3-4 players each time, just let them go to a store and then just set up the organized events with enough lead time, and just if they're set up correctly, or if they're run correctly, they're smooth. There's some price support. And the price support doesn't have to be a lot, even if it's just store credit price support, and just a cool environment. I think that might be the way to go. So I don't know. I guess it's not a clear answer, because it varies depending on where you are and how many people are showing up.
Will, what are your thoughts?
There's actually great points made by both these guys, but the question in the chat is actually revolving around getting prizes. What do you do when you hold these not major, but when you hold an event for your area? How do you convince people to go there? Doing the just like playing for store credit, like the store keeps like 25, and then everything else is split up 25%. I don't know how they do it, but
so most stores will let you do 100% store credit, because the store gets it anyway.
Makes sense. Well,
right?
yeah, because they get it. They get it
in the end.
Anyways, yeah. That makes sense. Though that feels like a little bit of gambling. So I could see why people want like a cards or some sort of like prize, even if it's something like bragging rights. So like maybe that's something you can look into, like a trophy, just to be like passed around. Like this is, a signifier that you're like the current champion of our monthly tournaments. So that could be a way to incentivize these events, which I do think is like the right call to get out a planned event that you could spread to other communities as well. It's instantly recognizable, and with online these days, you can sign up ahead of time. I think that's probably better than in a like weekly night, unless you're able to get like consistent players in there. In my experience, in a smaller stores, like Pastimes is an outlier, I think. But most stores are struggling to get a consistent group of people in.
Well, even I'll be completely transparent. Even Pastimes right now is struggling to have, like we used to be known to have like 14 people playing X-Wing every Wednesday, but I mean we've been hit too. Like we've been there, and this is something that I've been thinking about, because I wonder if events, monthly events or quarterly events might be a better way to build growth, and League is more about retention, right? It's the breadcrumbs that get you to those bigger things. Because I definitely know, there are players that, you know, they have different schedules and things like that. And I know for those of us that have a solid league, that seems really special to us, right? And it's like, that's my thing. I go there every week, and it's very easy to say that that's the most important. But I'm thinking for someone who hasn't set that time aside or hasn't decided to take that time aside, because it is like a commitment to be like, every week on this day at this time I will be in this place. Like that's a big commitment. Maybe the monthly is a easier commitment and may convince people to make the what I'm gonna say, the switch, or make the call to be like, hey, this is now, I feel like I want more, and then they start joining monthly. Because I am bringing up this topic as an opportunity for reflection for myself, because like we haven't done as many tournaments lately at past times, and I've been waffling and like, well, you know, we're kind of, numbers kind of go up and down, and I'm not sure really what to do. But this idea of a community series, I need to, the thought is kind of put into practice what I'm seeing, because the community events are being successful and they're bringing in people that haven't played for a while. And I think, I'm not sure who brought it up, but the idea of, you know, going to a league night and only seeing one other person or two other people there can feel discouraging. But if you have those bigger events, you know that those players exist. It's maybe they're just not as available as they normally were previously, or, you know, something in their life changed. So I am starting, my mind is starting to kind of have a bit of a shift, and I'm starting to think that prioritizing monthly tournaments of some kind or quarterly might be one of the better ways to build numbers in a specific group, but also have those opportunities to find and get players that normally wouldn't be able to drop things on a dime to just go play X-Wing. Those players kind of come out of the woodwork, like, yeah, hey, this is my first tournament, I heard about it, and I was able to, you know, take time off work or whatever it is, organize a babysitter. So it's something. So it's something to think about, because community engagement and growth is something that as a group of people, like-minded people who play X-Wing, in order to keep it more fun, more people, right? The more variety we have, the more people we have to play together, the more exciting it is. We like seeing the familiar names. We want to see new names too.
So speaking to it, if going the direction and thinking the monthly or the more organized event is a better way to go than weekly night, just to get things going in your area. Both ends of the spectrum of your area, right? Let's say you are one of the people that you have 3 to 4 stores within X amount of available time from your location you're willing to go to and play. What you could try and do, which I think Marcel alluded to earlier, was see if you can help, maybe not just yourself, talk to the other people that are sort of like the main people who help organize some of the events at those other stores, and see if you can help offset the weekends and the days. So to try and make sure that these stores aren't running events at the same time as each other, separate them out a bit, whether it's, you know, you get the first weekend of every month, you get the second weekend of every month, however you want to do it, right? You get that route. On the other end, if you have very little stores, you have one store and it's like you have to go hours to find another store, right? You just need to make sure that you plan, I would say, you got to get the word out, right? You got to share your event as many places as possible, even if it's a neighboring state, right? So when I first shared my event, we didn't have anyone from Ohio or Indiana show up, but I still shared it to those other states because they're around Michigan. I probably could have shared it to people in Toronto area in Canada. They, you know, might have at least thought about it or been aware of it. So even if you think it's far from you, it may not be too far for other people. Make them aware of it and just share it everywhere you think people would be willing to come from.
I got two more things. So one of them is, to your point, Dion, about the community being, not the community, but just pastimes having less number of players than it used to. I was one of those. Kayla and I used to go every Wednesday. We haven't been, and for me, frankly, it's just I can't do the drive. It's an hour and a half drive out of the city, and on the drive back, it's only 30 minutes. That's fine, but it's hard to get up and say like an hour and a half drive is a lot in traffic. So a monthly or a pre-planned weekend event is much easier to do than a rush hour weekday. But that's me personally. Other people have other things. But as far as like building a kind of going off, I don't know if it's going off, but just something that Ryan said kind of reminded me. This is if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of game stores and doesn't have a lot of community playing. It made me think about Tim Woodbury. I don't know, Dion, Timothy Woodbury.
In the Chicago,
guy.
Yeah, local guy, yeah.
Yeah, local guy. So Tim likes to, on weekends, he'll just call me, call random people, not random people, but call his friends and say, hey, we're going to go to this place or that place. And they're usually a bar. And we go to a bar that has very wide tables and, tables that fit the 3x3. And usually like four people will go. So you have two games going on at the same time, and it's in a time that the bars aren't that busy, maybe around noon on a Saturday, noon on a Sunday. And then people start rolling in, and once they start getting busy, then we pack up and go. But I mean, there's a lot of people that as you're playing at a bar, you're having a beer, you're playing, you're having fun, and you're having a drink. I mean, people just, what else do you do at a bar other than, play, the little thing that you push back and forth? I forget it. It looks like anyway, you play darts or you play whatever it is that you play at a bar. But then if you see somebody playing with toys, you're going to be like, hey, that's interesting. And a lot of the people that go there are guys in their 20s and 30s, and they like Star Wars too. They're like, hey, what is this? This is kind of cool. Well, yeah, we do D&D in the weekends. Yeah, we do this. So it might be a way to introduce X-Wing to a new group of people, especially if it's a small town where everybody kind of knows each other, and they're like, oh, I never knew that existed, or maybe there are players that don't know where to play, and they're seeing like, oh, I've been meaning to get into that, but I didn't know that other people around here played. So don't be shy to go and go to your local restaurants or local bars. Hopefully somewhere that has beer, because it's easier. Not because you need to drink, but it's easier to spark that conversation when people are there just hanging out, not really having a purpose other than just hanging out. So anyway, I thought like maybe that's a good way to introduce people in an area where there's not a lot of stores or a lot of ways to advertise, what you're up to.
Yeah, and I also think I want to encourage people as well that when it comes to running events, one of the concerns sometimes is like, well, what about prizes? I think honestly to start, store credit is fine, and you can even just divide. The easiest way to do it, if you can make sure everybody gets something, right? You can do the math. You can make sure if you want, the winner gets the most, and kind of go from there. But you could divide it evenly. Essentially, what it ends up becoming is like X number of dollars to play, and you get that back in store credit at the store. Is like making it completely even, but you can be creative with that. That's the easiest way to do it. But it doesn't have to be anything fancy. one of the projects that I want to get off the ground, but this summer has been really busy, is the GSP OP kits. I already I have a couple that I'm going to be sending out to people that we gave away during the last Galactic Championship qualifier, and I want to make those available to more people. The logistics on it is the tricky part, but it doesn't have to be anything super fancy. And if you want it to be fancier, that is your prerogative, but you can start very simple, and people will have a good time, because you don't want to have you don't want to go too big the first time, and then you're like, I don't know if we can do that again, because it's hard having been in that spot. You feel sometimes like you're not doing enough, but just people mostly just want to play. Honestly, people just want to play, and having that organized time where you know there's people going to be there, you have that a little bit more confidence. And honestly, like, this discussion has, and the thoughts that I had kind of before this is like, for instance, locally, we need to get another tournament on the books, and get that going. I think it's really important. It's going to put my money where my mouth is, and do it as well. So if you're in the local Chicagoland area, be on the lookout for some stuff. So I want to move on now to our first. We actually have 2 lists of the week. I don't know if we'll get to both of them. We have 2, but we have the first one, and then I want to hit the XTC update after that. Trying this format because sometimes we love to talk about list building, and we can stay on the same thing for like 700 hours. So we gotta keep it moving. Choo choo, gotta keep the train moving. All right. So let's go ahead and break it down. This comes from Martini. Will, you want to give me the preface on that while I get the setup?
Yes. Martini said, I like Sarasu. That's an M3A who gets defensive rerolls. Anyways. Continues on saying, but she seems to pop off the game mat so quickly. I usually run with Tractor Beam, Squad Leader, Elusive, but in a 3-ship build, I think Proton Torpedo is the right call. So if you got that pulled up, Dion, well, while you're working on that.
Yeah, it's funny because the link that they submit didn't even have Sarasu in it. They just talked. I really like Sarasu. Hold on, let me double check, make sure I grab the right link.
I think the link is broken somehow. It's like I see Sarasu in the link name. Maybe it's just the name of the list. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be Dengar, Sarasu, Leighton, Sunny.
What happened? None of those are in this list. Please, please hold. Something happened. This is a first.
Did you let Marcel change to the link in the entire list before?
Marcel.
Oh.
I want someone who would change an entire list on a list of the week.
It's like, yeah, you know what? Drop all those ships, and
it couldn't be me. I don't see any.
No, that's what Nightbot said.
Huh?
That's what Nightbot said when they put in the Dengar, Sarasu, Leighton, Sunny.
I think Martini may have accidentally given us the wrong link.
Well, why don't we just throw this list in the trash and build his Dengar?
There
Leighton,
we go. Chunk. Here we go.
Yeah, throw all that away. Let's build his list. What we think we could put into there. So Dengar, if you shoot at him and you're in his front arc, he's gonna shoot back at you. Sarasu in an M3A to get rerolls.
So sorry, are you gonna share your screen so we can see what you're building?
Yes, I am. So Sarasu, Leighton, and Sunny were the other ones?
Leighton and Sunny. Leighton, when she misses, it gets a free, or when you attack or defend, if the attack missed, you get a free evade. And Sunny Bounder, if you roll or re-roll your dice, if you have the same result on each of your dice, you may add one matching result.
And with that, we do have one. We have 3 points left over. We are at 17 out of 20.
can assume a good gamut key in there for Dengar.
Gamma Key's one of the best 3-point ships.
Or even for Sarasu, depending on the loadout you have on Sarasu and the type of shot you want to take.
All right, there we go.
I think we can all agree that a coordinating crew, probably Gamut Key, Protectorate Gleb.
the coordinator.
Yeah, you can go Grief Cargo, but like you might as well just take Protectorate Gleb. And Elusive has been very popular because you only got 2 points for a bomb. You can go Dead Man Switch, but
I think Elusive is the right thing.
Not necessary. So,
all right. So Sarasu, what? Let's start there.
Right, that's the question. Is now Martini said he normally runs her with Tractor Beam Squad Leader, which I think he meant Swarm Tactics, but maybe. And then Elusive.
Right, because squad leader adds a red coordinate.
Squad Leader is coordinate. Yeah. I think he meant Swarm Tactics because that's the one that fits in that combination.
Well, just in case, don't use squad leader in this. That's number one. Squad leader. Don't do it.
Yeah, maybe not. You can coordinate Dengar, I guess, but you could just bring a Hawk. Which I think would be probably better. You could Swarm Tactics Sunny Bounder up off of I-1. So that's the question here that's being posed is, do you think this combination of support upgrades versus just a proton torpedo is the correct call? I mean, and this build has a coordinator, so I'm very influenced by that to go just proton torpedo.
Right.
But I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, I kind of agree. If you got Gamut Key in there as your last ship, who can coordinate you or someone else, because you could flex it. You can have one turn, in the same turn, Gamut Key could have held a token, the focus token likely from the previous round, and then that ship already has it, so it can go lock Sarasu, as an example, to get the torpedo. And then Gamut Key could coordinate Dengar. So you have essentially almost 2 coordinates in a single turn because you've helped keep a focus from the previous round.
I'm going to disagree on that. I think a mixture of both, because the Swarm Tactics getting Sunny up to a 5 and allowing you to shoot 6.55, Sunny has the potential to shoot some meaningful dice with Sunny's ability, and then the 5 points that he gets. So I would probably go with the Swarm Tactics. Swarm Tactics is what, 5 points? Is it still, or is it
5 points? Yep.
Yeah, and the other 7 you can either go Plasma, you can go Concussion, you can probably use the homing torpedo now. That's 5-point homing torpedo and still have 2 points. Like there's choices that you get while still, the Plasma is not bad. Neither are some of the other missiles that are available to you. And getting Sunny up to shoot at Initiative 5 versus Initiative 1, I think it's a big deal. Because Initiative 1 is so, I mean, it's such a drastic difference.
So here's a question. So if we're spending the points, to get Swarm Tactics to bring Sunny Bounder up to Initiative 5, what are we putting on Sunny Bounder to make that shot worth it?
I think plasma torpedoes would be the way to go. I mean, you could do concussion.
Sunny's got 5.
On Sunny.
Only for 5, yeah.
Oh, on Sunny.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, Magpulse, you probably can't get the lock.
So you're not going to get the lock. It's down to cannon, and at that point, I mean, so if you are Swarm Tacticsing, it makes some sense to do the Tractor Beam there. If you're not, you can just, are you going to stay in my bullseye and take an HLC?
You shouldn't. Unless you have to, you get stuck there.
I mean, there's really not a ton there because a lot of it is lock based, or it's meant to be higher initiative. So it depends if you're doing Swarm Tactics or not.
Right.
And how you want to, I guess. Sure, you could swarm tactics, you could do thread tracers, you could do tractor beam, either one of those. If you're not using swarm tactics and you're spreading out, I think the HLC makes the most sense. You're not asking yourself to take a action just to be able to use it.
Yeah, plus Sunny's ability with primary and a focus token has really good odds of getting 3 results anyways.
That's where my head was at as well. So it usually has a decent chance. And then does it also work after a reroll or only after the initial dice roll?
Yeah, that's why Sunny does like taking locks, but you have to make sure that lock is going to be meaningful though.
Yeah, I guess what I'm struggling here is with Sunny. HLC to me seems like the quote unquote easiest one to potentially end up getting a shot or being meaningful. 'Cause tractor beam may help the other ships hit. It's not going to help Dengar because it's happening after initiative 6. At least not on that initial turn. It may help in current turns if you're messing with people's repositioning or not. Potentially token expenditures. But yeah, I think if Sunny Bounder had 6 points, you just go ion cannon, right? And you'd be done. But it doesn't. It has 5. You have to make that difficult choice. So I mean,
I would probably just even go concussion missile and just you don't have to shoot the missile on the first. Again, the 2 dice has a decent chance of going 3 with 2 focuses, 2 hits, or 2 blanks.
Yeah, I struggle with that. I don't trust Sunny. I don't trust her.
That's fair. I mean, I think we could, by that logic, though, we're just slapping ion cannon onto Leighton. Don't really need to reach for anything else.
Yep, 100%.
Yep. It's a non-bow, but it'll be fine.
All right, so which one do we want to build out? Do we want to build out the marksmanship version, or not? Excuse me, the swarm tactics version, or the protarp?
I'm leaning. It's just that's it.
Right.
You got 12 loadout points.
Exactly.
That's it.
I'm leaning towards the proton torpedo. Personally, just the swarm tactics. It doesn't seem worth it to me. Personally.
If we're going proton torpedoes, do we really need Sunny? Can't we just upgrade from Sunny to Quinjast?
And Quinjast is at the start of engagement phase.
You get another ion cannon.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, when I say upgrade, it's just 2 initiative up and 2 additional points up. So that's that opens up your.
Or
I mean, it gives you an EPT and other things as well.
You could go lower and get the ultimate blocker in Gargor at I0.
Gargoyle always scares me.
I'm coming for you.
I mean, there's options like Kaiten Lichos. I know it's there's other 3-point options.
It
doesn't even have to be that.
Z95, yeah.
Yeah, Boss Z95 gets 10 points. Kato gets 11 points. You can go another coordinator with one of the escape crafts, probably Lando. Lando tends to be the best one out of those. So you get a second coordinator and a ship that gets rerolls. So.
Yeah, I think possibly the M3A call is to flex that Sarasu 3 agility shenanigans there where you can get that reroll. But Marcel, I like the idea of going up to Quinjast. I think I vote let's go Quinjast, at least for this example for today. And then we can do that same thing. We could choose to use his ability or not. Do we want to use his ability? Or do we just go ion cannon marksmanship and call it a day, and we're just using his upgrade
ion
points?
and marksman don't really play together, but
I mean, once you're range 1, if you need a crit for the purposes of like a box drop,
right.
it's there at least.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not really
just
other
there's
one point thing to use that matters.
yeah, composure. You could just play around. Same thing with Mars Stable Closure. They're just not great one pointers. Deadeye Shot doesn't really make sense if you're shooting ion cannon most of the time, anyways. So it's just what's left over. I don't think that's too bad though. Because I do think the point of Sarasu is getting those 3 agility rerolls to keep these guys as live as possible.
So what about Form and Poach? Initiative 4, 3 agility still.
I was wondering about any of the mining field ties.
I mean, if you can get you can get Crack Shot and Fearless or something.
Ahav's got a lot. 2 elicits and a talent. You can do.
I don't know.
Hav is really good, especially a lot
I don't
of
know
with
base.
Overtune, false transponders, targeting computer, and Marg Sable.
Oh wait, actually, if you get Overtuned in there, you get Notorious. This list is missing some Notorious.
Notorious is going elsewhere for me. It's going on Dengar.
Dengar. I like it on. I don't like it on Dengar because Dengar already gives you a reason not to shoot him.
All right.
I mean, you already don't want to shoot. You already don't want to shoot Dengar, and you probably, if you have it on a Hav, you probably want to discourage people from shooting your squishiest ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to be squishy if you have a reroll in 3 calcs. I just like the idea of doling out the strain with the Marge Sable. Especially if you're doling out strain with that helps boost the chances of the latent ion cannon hitting or the Sarasu proton torpedo doing more. Or I like on Jump Masters most recently, since they have the gunner slot, the Gar Saxon gunner with Notorious combo, I like a lot. And if you also have any, ion tokens hanging around, maybe of large or medium-based ships, our Saxon gunner could take advantage of that. Basically, it allows Dengar to, while you perform a primary attack of the defenders in the front or rear arc, you may remove 1 orange or red token from the defender to roll 1 additional dice to a maximum of 4. So you're kind of giving yourself torps without having to pay for torps. Now, granted, you have a lot of points left. You could swap out that ion cannon. Yeah, I have ion cannon just to fill up the rest of the points because I have Notorious, R5P8, Punishing 1, Contraband.
Yeah.
I have ion cannon just in case if I really need to turn the turret. I still have a cannon going out the front. But you can obviously trade in the ion cannon and Gar Saxon for just a torp for the same cost if you really want to.
Yeah, I just don't think people will shoot at Dengar, and then they're like, well, I'll just shoot at everything but Dengar, and I'll take my chances with their green dice versus my green dice. But either way, I mean, I think Ahav is probably a better call than even Quinjast, in my opinion, as well. Like, the way I had him is Notorious, False Transponder, and Overtuned, so just kind of protect him against a torpedo. Overtuned for being Malrus for a turn.
It was Notorious, Overtuned, and what?
Well, it depends. If you want Notorious on somebody else, then put it on somebody else and give him either Elusive or Predator. Notorious is going to be on somebody. So if it's on Dengar, then on Dengar he gets Elusive or Predator. If it's not on Dengar, then just...
I just missed a third upgrade you had suggested. Notorious, Overtuned, and...
False Transponder.
Got it. All right. So, I think for now... So, they didn't say they had an issue with their Dengar in the build. So, what I'm going to suggest us is... let's leave it a little bit open-ended. We... kind of looked at what we have here. We definitely suggest having the coordinator in there. I like the kind of like flavor to taste here. I think we all agree that that maybe Sunny may not be the best fit in this list. You could end up having something like a Hav, or if you want maybe a more meaningful shot or a more potentially more consistent shot than Sunny, but you still want an M3A, you go with Quinn Jast, Ion Cannon, Marksmanship, and build the Dengar to taste, depending on what is it that you're looking for. So hopefully Martini 74, this was helpful. The Ahav idea, I find that's not in my play style, but I find it interesting myself, and that it's something to explore. And not taking damage on asteroids feels nice. All right, next point of discussion for today. We had a suggestion on the Discord. By the way, if you're not on the Discord, join us. We have a bunch of amazing people over there having great discussions about X-Wing. Bunch of different channels. Talk about whatever you want. But this came from JB Fancourt, and he was saying that him and his buddies, him and some online friends, have been talking about how to bring speaking of Notorious, the Notorious twin laser turret into the current version of the game. Now, what I want to start, here's my question. If you can, here's a question for you guys. If you completely change the way it works, is it still a twin laser turret? Or are we just using the name? Are we designing just a new turret? Essentially is what it is, right? Because TLT as we know it is what it is. By the way, if you didn't play first edition, quick lowdown, you basically got to shoot twice. And you could do a maximum of 1 damage. You rolled 3 dice. Maximum of 1 damage. Do it again. Maximum of 1 damage is a turret. Range 2 to 3. It's really good. Just to let you know. Pretty good. So I guess I want to ask that question first. Is it twin laser turret if we change what it does?
Yeah. I mean, there's a way to change it in a way that doesn't impact like the main mechanic. You can reduce it from 3 dice to 2 dice, so you shoot 2 dice twice with a maximum of 1 damage per, which is still great, but it's just 2 dice. And you can do 2 dice only at range 2 and 3, so you don't get the range bonus at range 1 ever. I mean, I'm not going to go through them all because I'm guessing that's going to be the discussion, but yeah, there's a way to do it that doesn't bastardize the original intent, or not intent, the original nastiness of of what everyone hated.
Yeah, and I think the desire for people trying to tweak twin laser turret is the desire for a range 3 turret. It's really what it is, right? I think that is the motivator. And I guess the next question I have for you is, do you think there is space in the game for a 3 dice turret? Yay or nay? That's yes, no.
A range 3 turret?
You mean a range 3 turret?
Excuse me, a range 3 turret. I said that wrong. Marcel says yeah. Give me the thumbs up.
I believe there's design space, yes.
All right. Ryan looks a little weary, not sure. What are your thoughts, buddy?
No, they have so many levers that they've shown that they can push and pull. There's something that could work. I mean, maybe it can be used every other round, like the proton cannon is set up right now, right? You have to spend 2 charges. Once you get them both back, you can use it then, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not peppering it every round, but every other round it can be used, or it's used every time you use it, you get a deplete. Mm-hmm. So every successive round, it's not as effective. I don't know. Right,
something like that.
And we already got ships that have a permanent front and a permanent rotating arc. I mean, that's the Hawks with the title have it. Yeah. The Jump Masters with
3 turrets.
Yeah, the Jump Masters with a cannon out front, and then the
I mean, heck,
rotating.
just a fire spray. They got really good 1 hards and 2 hards and boosts. It's pretty
And they
much
got
like
2
a
arcs.
turret.
Right, and I guess
So-
my question, here's my not trepidation. That's too strong of a word. What I'm afraid of a little bit is having more 3-dice turrets may honestly tactically be easier to play and with spread out objectives, right? Because you could be like assault at the satellite array, for instance, right? You're at, by one objective, I got a range 3 turret, I can shoot you out the side, stuff like that. It has to be battle. I don't know. It makes me wary.
I mean,
It makes me wary.
Definitely just like they do with electro chaff missiles, just like they've done with Discord missiles. You pip them.
There you go.
Get 1 or 2 in the list. That's it.
Yeah,
You can
and also
only fire them every other round, or basically be effective firing every other
Right.
round.
I would be okay with that as a starting point. If they put out a range 3 turret, they're like, all right, we're testing it by making it unique, right? You start there, see what happens, then you can go for a 2 pip one. I'd be in for that. I'm feeling safer already.
I think the game is different enough that we're beyond the point of punishing things that were boogeymen and we were afraid of from 1.0. So I think we're way beyond that. It's a completely different game. Even going as far as a range 1 to 2 turret might have less range. I mean, that's what it does. It has less range, but it's more effective than a range 2 to 3 turret. Because another rule change in 2.0 is turrets no longer.
They require the range bonus.
Yeah, they get the range bonus. So if you're defending, if it's a 2-dice turret at range 3, you're still getting the range bonus. So you're still rolling 1 additional defense dice at range 3. It's less effective. So yeah, you can play more reserved, more conservatively by sticking around far and still being productive, but that production is going to be a lot less reduced. Twin laser turret, because there's people that don't know what twin laser turret was. I mean, if somebody started playing in 2.0 or 2.5, they won't know. So twin laser turret was a 360-degree turret that you were able to add to any ship that had a turret slot, and it allowed you to shoot twice per engagement or twice per turn. And you roll 3 attack dice at range 2 or 3, again 360 degrees. If the attack hit, they took 1 damage. Even if you hit with all 3, they only took 1 damage. And then you can shoot again with 3 dice. In 1.0, while that card was legal, the turrets disregarded range bonuses. So if you had 3 dice against the next wing, at range 3 it would be 3 dice against 2. So the likelihood, and there was a lot of ways in 1.0 to constantly modify your dice so that it almost always ended up with minimum 2, almost always 3 hits. So it was like a guaranteed 2 damage per turn.
And something else that on top of that ended up being manipulated is that bonus attacks worked differently in 1.0, right? So some people were able to twin laser turret twice for a total of 4 rolls, essentially.
And it became almost like a guaranteed 4 damage a turn.
Yeah,
and you can shoot
crazy.
the same ship all 4 times. So that, just the rules with the range bonuses, with the bonus attack restrictions, with the being able to place your arc and be in an action to rotate, all of these things contribute to everything that we were afraid of in 1.0. It's kind of meaningless. It's if the exact same card showed up today, it would be 30% as effective as it was in 1.0.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and we're essentially going to review a community suggestion for a turret. All right. So again, reminder: this is not official in any way. We're simply reading this communal idea for a turret. So they're calling it twin laser turret. Attack 2. Range 2 to 3, single turret arc. Ability. While you perform this attack, you may spend 2 charges to roll an additional attack die against a ship with a printed agility value of 3 or higher. You may not roll more than 3 dice while performing this attack. Action rotate. It has 2 charges recurring. And they also have it listed here as a double turret upgrade, I think as a way to control what ships can take it. And then they kind of, their idea was to add to the rules reference, a ship can only be equipped with 1 turret upgrade. So the idea is they could add and take away this specific upgrade by giving certain ships a second turret slot, if that makes sense. So essentially would be that. So this was their idea. Do you guys want to, your thoughts on it? Does it seem, would, if this card came on the next set, you think this is balanced? Thoughts? Seems good? Yay or nay? What do you think?
I don't know if I like it being able to shoot every turn. That's my only. Granted, it's only 1/4 of your, like, it's 1 quadrant of your ship arc, right? So we don't. There's not the whole 360. There's still the range 1 bubble that we used to exist, which is if you close the distance to range 1, it cannot shoot you then.
Well, it's only every other. This one only shoots once, and it shoots with 3 dice every other turn.
Right, it's 3 dice 1 turn, 2 dice the next turn.
As long as the agility printed value is 3 or higher.
Exactly. So it will almost always be 1 attack at 2 dice.
And one of the, let me go ahead and read the bottom paragraph with kind of some of the thoughts behind it. It said, basically the lore of TLT of being an anti-nimble fighter defense platform, and the feeling that there's a design space for range 3, the concoction of a double turret, being able to have maximum flexibility. There is concern for resistance, Y-wings, and caval, which is why some of those caveats were added to the ability. But yeah, that's what they gave us. So an interesting concept. So essentially, this is earmarked as a, if you're playing against 3 agility, you have an additional tool against it. But against 1 and 2 agility ships, it is a 2 dice. It's a range 2 to 3 dorsal turret is what it becomes against everybody else. Which I guess we have to kind of start the discussion there. If dorsal turret was a range 2 to 3 upgrade, I mean, that's just better than dorsal turret as is. Yes? No? What do you think?
I kind of like the range 1 bonus because there's Y-wings and things like that. They may start round 1 far away, but especially with objectives, ships are on top of each other pretty fast, even now with, no points are, by turn 2 or 3, no, maybe not 2, but by turn 3, everything's just like bumping into each other anyway, especially bumps give you focuses now. So I think the turret is better at, with the bonus at range 1. So I would have that. I would pay more for dorsal turret as it stands today than that card if it were released the way it's written there, even with the extra bonus die at every other turn against agility 3 ships.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that is my opinion of it. That the range 3 ability is great, fantastic, but in today's world, the limiting factor of not having range 1 is going to be a huge problem for any kind of turret like this. And previously, the K-Wing, who would normally rock the TLT, had a primary turret to cover that range 1 donut, or things like Y-Wings would just be in mass, so you just have other ships covering your range 1. And I just wouldn't want to see it played in mass, so I actually would want it to be better and more expensive, because this is very conservatively cost at 6, right? Ion cannon's 5, right? So it's not that much more. I think I would rather see in a more expensive turret have access to range 1, but only limited access out to range 3. Thinking something like limited charges, right? We're just like, you may spend 1 charge of your like 3 or 4 to extend the range band.
That's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea.
So you can't always be shooting range 3, which I think is what people are concerned about.
Right. It's 2 to 3 covers a lot more ground than 1 to 2. A lot more ground.
Yeah, it's about 3 times. Your range 3 is about 3 times a range 1 is. Mm-hmm. So it's a big area. So I think I would, like I said, I would rather have something big and expensive so that you can't run it 3 or 4 times in a single list, than maybe somehow limit its long range. Maybe I couldn't imagine like something like, I mean, I guess every other turn works, but like I'm not sure if that's enough to rein it back in, because like sometimes you do want to shoot, twice in a row, right? You just might be circling.
Yep. Yeah.
The taking away range 1 though, I think would be dead on arrival. Like that's just not how the game's played anymore.
All right. Well, whatever. When and if. You know what I would do if I was AMG and I was aware of the storied past of the twin laser turret. I would use the name and get new art and use the old art for something else. Just use the art for something else.
I mean, canonically, the TLT was a K-Wing weapon, and they don't have turrets anymore. They just have their bow tie arc.
Yeah.
So it'd be, what was the aggressor's turret? Do you remember that one? It required a lock.
Sync laser
turret. Yeah.
Synced laser. Yeah, not that we're going to see a reprinted aggressor anytime soon, but we got probably more likely than that to see the TLT or a K-Wing reprint with it. But I think that would be where we should be looking, is like ships that could be released that have a turret, and to see what that kind of turret style would be. Yeah. There's not too many left. Maybe like what's Anakin's Twilight or whatever. That's probably too big for X-Wing, but it had a dorsal cannon on it that could be a fancy turret, something more than just your like a standard mobile gun.
Could also be card pack related. Like, right, if you have a card pack that gives you some stuff for either any of the Y-Wings, right? Whether it's Clone War era, Galactic Civil War era, sequel, either way, they could add, because I feel like the turret slot has been the most stagnant slot since the beginning of 2nd edition. Because it's only been dorsal and ion cannon turret since 2nd edition started.
Yeah, we still don't have a third one, do we?
Nope, we do not.
I think it's fear. There's, I think if you want to try to find that balance, going back to what we said earlier, I think you got to make small steps, you got to be safe about it. Of course, they have limited amount of places where they can release stuff, but maybe if they wanted to be a little more aggressive with it, you got to try something, but be safe with it. Let the pips help you. I guess you could add them on later if you really need to. All right, there you go. Twin laser turret discussion. Will it? Won't it? It is something that will pop up until we see it again, in my opinion. But we got one more list of the week that we're gonna end here. It comes from Jim Vogel, and he gave us a link with the list and everything, guys. Kind of crazy, I know. Here it is. So it is an Imperial list with a simple request. Says, any improvements you would make to this list? ? I'm not sure about Sienna Ree's loadout. So what that sounds to me is that the pilots are fixed. This is what they want. So we got Darth Vader, Malice Juke, Jamming Beam, and Cluster Missiles. Pretty much a standard loadout for Vader. Paired up with Sunterfell and Sienna Ree. So this is a 666 squad. Suntir has Predator, Outmaneuver, Targeting Computer. Sienna Ree, Juke, Crackshot, Targeting Computer. Feel free to take some cracks at this. Can I just be honest just to start out? This list worries me in objectives. Like, it doesn't... I am not convinced that it has the staying power to do what it needs to do in objectives, especially with how scrummy things can become. I'm not convinced. Like I said.
I'm gonna have to agree because they're like, I'm not sure about Sienna Ree's loadout. I'm just not sure of Sienna Ree, period.
Right, yeah.
There's now there has been a lot of lists floating around that do double ace with Darth Vader, but they always sneak in some sort of tank as their third ship. Normally it's a Palp Reaper, either Vizier or Vermeil, depending on if you have 4 or 5 points left. There is not a lot of other 5-point ships, though, that I think could replace her. 5th Duchess, 7th Sister as well. I guess you could go Rampage, but he's not a very good support ship. Not like what Vermeil can do with Palpatine on board.
Yep.
I mean, that would be... Now, you can get Vermeil moving, though, with... what is the thing that lets you barrel roll?
Ion Limiter Overdrive?
Yeah, Limiter. Overtune Limiter, something like that. That actually gives Vermeil a lot of play. You could choose to boost before your maneuver, and if your maneuver is red, you can barrel roll afterwards as well. I mean, that's getting a lot of reposition out of what it feels like a slow, chunky ship. Now, probably not I-6 Interceptor levels, but I don't know. As far as the Sienna, what's on it right now? Juke, Crackshot, Targeting Computer?
Yeah. The Juke...
I mean, because you evade, right?
Yeah,
you evade, and then...
But the target, you have the targeting computer, though. I feel like that's like...
You're going to have no offensive mods.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like no one looking at Sienna. I mean, just pop a lock and boost in.
I think you keep Sienna simple, shield upgrade Predator.
Yeah, I'm also on that boat. The 3 health is very concerning to me. At least Sunterfell can get 2 tokens. Sienna can't at all in this list.
Actually, on Sienna on this, I like Lone Wolf Elusive. Just double up on the defensive rerolls and offensive. You're not going to use it.
Really? So you're more thinking about using her as like maybe a super flank or almost bait even?
Yeah, just lone wolf elusive, and then I had Sunter with outmaneuver elusive, and again you got ships that die fast, so just trying to keep them alive a little bit. But I agree with you guys that I'd go Darth Sunter plus something versus this. Maybe not even Sunter, but I mean, it sounds like he said that these are the three he wants. Like he's set on these, right?
Right. So I mean, is maybe the first selection to try with Sienna Ree, change it to Lone Wolf Elusive, try to keep it alive longer so that it can do more stuff?
And it still gives it the offensive reroll if it's arc dodging. So it gives it an offense or defense reroll, elusive defensive reroll, and then just put a mod whatever you want the mod to be.
They don't have any mods at that price point.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, I guess that's where you take the targeting computer.
Yeah, you just take the targeting computer.
Lone Wolf Elusive targeting computer. It also on Soon Tier, going on the side, because to me it's more likely people are gonna look at Soon Tier than they are Sienna anyway. So Soon Tier having outmaneuver probably won't occur too often, minus your repositioning capabilities around them trying to go at you. But you Predator Shield upgrade Enduring or Crack Shot, either one, whatever you want to do, seems good.
So you had suggested there that was Predator, Crackshot, Enduring, or Enduring, one of those three.
Oh, yeah, it's on Soon Tier. It's Predator Shield upgrade, then your choice of Crackshot or Enduring. Do either one, probably works well.
Oh, sorry, I gotta get
Yeah, I had to say that I feel like I would reach for those shield upgrades myself. Having 2-3 health ships running around, I was just asking for one of them to be caught out and just killed before it could be effective.
And it's 8 points, right? So you could go Shield Elusive, but then you lose the Lone Wolf.
Marcel, do you value the extra reroll from Elusive more than Enduring? Because you can get Enduring Lone Wolf on
No,
CN.
I mean the elusive is just the lone wolf is the one that. Yeah, I one reroll should be enough because then you've got to do a red turn anyway. You're probably not doing a red maneuver to recharge that elusive. So I think that enduring lone wolf probably makes sense there.
For Sienna, yeah.
Yeah, just especially to guard against the proton torpedoes, which you're likely to see. So yeah, it's much better to take 2 damage than it is to take damage crit, or 1 damage instead of a crit.
All right. Well, a couple of ideas there for you, Jim. And you know what? I would say my question to Jim is I started this segment of List of the Week by essentially saying, in a nice way, I don't believe you. But I say that with the most amount of love. I would love to hear from you and understand how you're approaching the different objectives for this. The one that just stands out real big for me is salvage mission. How do you salvage mission with 2 interceptors who can't reposition?
I think you'd also be surprised how detrimental assault would be as well.
Yeah.
You only have 3 small base ships, and you got to try and compete to get to zones to not only contest but actually gain some points. They have the repositioning and speed to get to places, but there's only 3 of them. They're all small bases, so even one medium or large base existing somewhere, they may as well just say like, well, unless I go all in this area, my opponent will know that I'm all inning there. I'm just not. I can't go there.
Yeah,
So,
and just. Go ahead.
I think some of the 3 ship lists that I've seen work have generally been large, medium ships that actually don't reposition too much. They don't mind picking up boxes if they need to. well, we saw the double fire spray Han in Scum. We've seen Bosk, Boba, iterations of them in lists that is only 3. We've seen Django Zam and a hyena do well. So consistency there is like multiple arcs, some reposition with fire spray, for example, but 3 small bases. Yeesh, I don't know.
Yeah, I think to me it sounds like he wants the 666 is a big deal, but there's other 666s out there that are probably going to be more consistent.
But I
and
want to
give you
play the
more
bad
options.
guys.
I mean, you get Han, Wedge, and the Fang Fighter, Fen Rao. Like those 3 will pull more mileage because Wedge will just hit hard, Han will double tap, and Fen Rao is Fen Rao's pretty good.
All right. So that is that. That's our show for today. Those were our topics. Anything you guys want to close with? Like I said, this weekend we have the Malachor Galactic Championship. If you're gonna play, let's get signed up. Excited to do that. We'll be starting bright and early U.S. time and 9:30 Western Europe time. So I think it's like 2:30 Chicago time, something like that, a.m. to get started. So that'll be fun, but that's par for the course.
All-nighter.
That's
Let's
right.
go.
That's par for the course for the Galactic Championships because we try to, have some different options there.
Yeah, you forgot to XCC update. I mean, this is a kind of
sorry.
a...
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
All right, give me the quick
This
hits.
okay.
XTC update.
Yeah.
We could. Oh, go ahead, Marcel.
Yeah, we'll just go like a quick update on the groups. I put a challenge there on the link if you want to share that one, on the screen, but we can just go through it real quick. So we're 2 weeks in. We're starting the 3rd week. And just a quick hits in Group A. Spain is up 2-0. I mean, not 2-0. 2-2. They're up 2-0. And then the Czech Republic also has 1 win. Then nothing. I mean, there's a tie. So I think that was interesting. So
Yeah, there's another tie in another
there's another
group
tie further down. Yeah.
But I would actually like to touch on that. But let's bruise through the different
groups.
Groups, though.
So Group B, if you want to scroll down to Group B, we got Germany, Australia, both with 1 win, and they had a bye. Brazil 1-1, Colombia, pretty cool, 1-1, and then Greece losing 2. This is very tight. This is the tightest group so far, or the closest group so far. Australia is not going to be Australia of last year. It looks like that's good for them.
They got to win. I think that might be better than last year.
Group C.
Group C, Captain. Why don't you go Group C?
Sure. This is where America has been kicking butt so far. Though we do face off against our North American rivals, Canada, coming off of a week 1 bye and a week 2 win. So we'll have to face off against them. And then this is the other tie, Serbia and Hungary, both sitting at 1 tie, 1 loss. And so far the Swiss has played around and has received a loss for it.
Yeah, this week's going to be good. I mean, I know we've done a lot of, not a lot actually, comparatively to last year, we've done none smack talking, but
True. I think we did at one point, just smack talked Italy and England for the most part.
But yeah, so USA, so we went 4-1 the first week, and then we swept this last week 5-0. Canada took a bye and then swept their first match round 5-0 as well. So we're going into this week. I mean, I think Canada and the U.S. probably are in the entire, all 5 groups are the ones that are standing out the most so far. So this could be this
All right.
will be a fun one.
All right, what's the last two? Because then I want to talk about what those ties mean. Looks like Group D has the Philippines on top right now, 2-0, with England coming off of a bye round and a win. And the Pirates of this tournament did receive their loss last week, I think, to England, if I'm not mistaken.
France 0-2, and then Philippines 2-0 are such. That is a shocker for me.
It's a tight race over there. But then in Group E, we have all Ireland and Norway, both 2-0 right now, heading into their bye rounds, with Scotland, Italia, and Mexico currently sitting at no wins.
All right.
So, Marcel,
Hit us with that ties. What do the ties mean?
What is up with the ties? Because I feel like, by my math, that should, especially, so Serbia and Hungary, both of them have a loss and a tie, which I feel like that's just going to take them out of the running. That might as well be 2 losses.
No, because if they win the last 2,
So it's going to come up to...
we would need a... Yeah, so basically they can win their last 2. And if we lose our last 2 and Canada wins 1, loses 2, it basically everybody ends up
okay,
2 and 2. So
they're-
everybody ends with 2 wins, just that they have 2 wins and a draw versus 2 wins, 2 losses.
Okay.
So there is an in for them because, Canada can, or at this point, anybody can go 2-2. And if they go 2-1-1, they're in.
But they're on a win out. Is their only way to progress though, is what you told me. One of those teams has to win out and go 2-1-1.
And they have to also rely on us to lose the last 2, or Canada to lose 2 of the last 3.
Interesting. Now, going back to Group A, though, where the other tie was, Wales hasn't played in another week, so they're only sitting on a single tie, whereas Malaysia is in the same boat as the other 2, a tie and a loss. So in this one, like Wales wins 4 more, not even a problem, right?
Right. They're looking to go. You want to be the best place to tie in a win at this point,
right,
to give you a little bit of wiggle room.
Right. So that is, it's just interesting to me because that's not a tie like, the both teams only won 2 games. That meant that not only was it split 2 wins, 2 wins, but one of the game had to be tied at the end of the game. So that a 5th game was a draw, which created this. It's crazy to me that happened not once but twice so far. Is baffling. Awesome. So not out yet. And America to clinch. We're probably going to need a 3rd win here, either against Canada or Serbia.
And how many
win or draw does it?
Remind us how many total rounds are in the first stage?
We will play 4. We will play everybody in our group before we move on to a top 10, 2 out of each group. So that's really what everyone's shooting for, is either that undefeated or 3-1 as their record to progress into the top cut. What's going to get weird is these ties as far as who's going to be the second place person coming out of the group.
Awesome. So that has been your XTC update. Sorry for skipping that in the notes. I got excited about the twin laser turret discussion, and I visually just jumped on it when I was scrolling.
It's okay.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening, hanging out. remember, if you want to get caught up on the latest games or even take up some blasts from the past, check out our YouTube channel with our game archives. We have, of course, the games from this weekend coming up. The Richmond Open videos will be going up here soon as well. And we got a lot of X-Wing out there, so get prepped. We have the Malachor Galactic Championship. Get ready. You know, it's gonna be good. Get hype. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be smart and be safe. Go Squadron. Out.